Welcome to week 14. It is not a weakness to empower others. In fact, a team's weakest link is those who are not empowered. It is interesting to note that a lot of organizations today are suffering from a poverty mindset. When I talk about poverty mindset, I'm talking about the fact that they do not have an empowerment culture. And so you look at an organization that has done well in business, but after the director, general, founder dies or something happens to them, the organization crashes. Why? Because the people were not empowered enough to be able to take over. Are you working to empower those that are in your sphere of influence, those that are with you? A servant's leader's goal or desire or your responsibility towards your people should be to empower them so that they can be all that God created them to be. You have that responsibility of, as a steward, to bring out the best in them. And how can you do that if you're not empowering them? So this week we are looking at the importance of empowering those in your sphere of influence that you know if you empower them, then you guys can go further. But we're also looking at how we can empower the people in our sphere of influence. Now, one thing you can be sure of is that when you empower the people in your sphere of influence, the work becomes lighter because many more people are capable. Sometimes people do not want to empower others because of this fear culture. You're afraid that if you empower others, they'll take over your job. Now, I want to look in the camera and tell you this. If you're afraid that others will be able to take your job, then you probably should not be in that role. Your goal as a team lead, your goal as a leader should be to actually empower others, even make them much better than you. What is the problem with that? I encourage you to take this lesson seriously and to work towards building the people in your sphere of influence. A husband who refuses to empower his children or refuses to empower his wife because of this kind of crazy kind of thinking is suffering from some brain problem. I know of a situation of a colleague who, a long time ago, refused to show his wife his bank information. And so she was not aware of how to access his banking information. And someday, unfortunately, he had a stroke and he was partially paralyzed, so he couldn't talk and he couldn't operate his limbs, which means that he couldn't even write. Now, he had money in the bank, but only he could take that money out of that bank. So guess what? Other colleagues had to put their hands together to be able to raise money to take care of someone. And he suffered. Not because he didn't have money, but because he refused to empower the people in his sphere of influence. You're hurting yourself as an individual. You're hurting your team if you refuse to empower the people in your sphere of influence. Look at this, and I will see you in week 15.